Good evening, Council. Jason Moore, 2716 Bainbridge, here in Odessa. My concern about this ordinance tonight, and I guess I want to step back a second. There's a contract. My understanding is there's a contract that is in conjunction with this ordinance, and it's kind of those two things together that give me the greatest concern about the council addressing this and continuing this particular program. While the goals stated tonight are laudable, and I think a lot of people in the community want to help improve our parks and all of that, we still have to do it in the transparency, that is required of government to do these things. The contract, as I've read it, and I've done a public information request. It was over 600 pages. I've been through that multiple times. My concern with the contract and the ordinance is that they both appear to be expired. The ordinance itself, which I have, clearly to me designates a sunset provision that expires after 5 years. Have you guys read that? Is that your understanding?
Yes.
Okay. Here it is. It says in I of the ordinance, J of the ordinance, said program will be implemented for a period of 5 years unless terminated earlier or subsequently extended by action of the city or Odessa Parks Foundation.
Jason, I might just add before you go on,
yes.
We're viewing the contract that was entered into with the Odessa Parks Foundation as the subsequent action by the city to extend.
Okay, and so my understanding tonight is that the agenda item is to amend the ordinance, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. My concern in that department is that I don't know how you amend something that's no longer in existence.
Well, you can always amend the ordinance, which is what we're doing, but it is still in existence. There was a provision in the contract that provided that the contract stayed in existence until any of the money that was given out was either reimbursed or spent according to the contractual obligation of the Parks Foundation. That hasn't occurred. So we're viewing the contract as still being in effect, and we're viewing the program as still being in effect.
So you're saying that item K of the ordinance that says requirements for the expenditures revenues will survive the termination of the program, you seem to be saying that backward, and that's where part of my concern lies, is that it's clear, as it was stated tonight, this was set up to be an endowment, and I understand the city council, previous city council, approved the ordinance which allowed for this to, for some reason you guys wrote in a 5-year stopping point. And then it said it must be, in the contract in fact says, both parties understand it must be renewed within 5 years.
If you're asking whether it was the probable intent was to renew it in 5 years, that is probably correct. What I'm saying is due to the way that the ordinance is drafted, which provided that it was extended by subsequent action, and due to the subsequent action, which was the contract, which provided that it stayed into effect until the monies were either distributed or returned, the net effect is the program is still in effect. Now, the intent, I think, of the council was to review it after 5 years. I don't think there's a question about that.
Okay.
But
yet the contract does say it is understood by both parties that this agreement must be reapproved by city 5 years from the date it is executed January 18th, 2008. So my concern is this is symptomatic of the rest of the things that I found with this program. For instance, we know for a fact now, as a public information request, that there was money sent to the foundation, contracts were signed and executed without the council's approval, as per the ordinance. The Lawndale contract, for instance. I looked through all of my public information requests. There were requirements both on the city and both on the foundation to do certain things, which neither side ever did. I mean, someone would have to point me to, and I asked for this in my public information request, to point me to the place where all projects, all expenditures done by the Parks Foundation was approved by the council before they were spent. It's not in the request. So,
All of the projects were spent pursuant to the master plan that was approved by the city council.
so now we're saying that when we write in specifically that expenditures must be approved before they're spent, wouldn't that note, because the concern I think a lot of people have with this kind of operation where we're sending off money to a private nonprofit, which we're not allowed to see the goings on inside a private nonprofit by law, that expenditures of funds are happening without any oversight other than an unelected board.
Well, I think it is now the position of the city council that in the future, all the money will be back before them, before
Okay.
expenditure.
But what gives taxpayers, and I guess this is my question for the council, what gives taxpayers confidence that now we're really going to start following the rules after almost 6 years of having this in place and saying, we're going to ship money off to a private nonprofit. We don't know what happened to it, where it went, if it's being spent correctly, if we're doing a $10,000 park project for $200,000.
Well, Jason, I mean, we know where the money went. I mean, they're audited every year. There's no missing money. There's no misappropriation.
And Jason, in our budget hearing, we approved that Lawndale project. So, yes, the
So
council.
it's your belief that all of the terms of the contract and the ordinance have been followed? That's your belief? Because my concern goes to how is it, do we treat other contracts with the city this way? For instance, I found a contract with the Com Aquatics. It's a 4-year contract with an option for a 5th year. Does that mean 10 years because we still have water in the swimming pool? Does it mean till we decide that we want to drain the pools? When does 5 years mean 5 years? When does 1 year mean 1 year? When does you must do this mean you must do this? I don't think if I have a contract with the city that I have the option to start changing stream and say, well, I don't want to do that part of the contract. I mean, these are concerns that taxpayers have, that when you guys write rules for yourselves and you write rules for others and they're not being followed, what confidence do we have that the money that you're taking from us each year is being spent the way that you say it's being spent?
Jason, I think I mean, those are legitimate questions. That's a legitimate issue. But in defense of the city, the ordinance itself provided for the extension of it beyond the 5 years by subsequent action
By
of the
action.
city.
Where's that action?
The action was approving the contract with the Parks Foundation for the use of these funds. And that contract provided that that contract would stay in effect until all those monies were either spent according to the contract or returned to the city, which has not occurred, which therefore we view the contract still to be in effect.
Okay, I would probably like Attorney General interpretation of that, because it seems clear in both the contract and the ordinance that the intention was to reassess at 5 years, that there must be affirmative action taken towards establishing a new contract with new deadlines.
As far as your statement that the intent was to review it after 5 years, I believe that is exactly correct. I think that is exactly what they had in mind. As far as your determination that that intent invalidated the program after the 5 years, even after the language that I pointed out to you, I think you're incorrect on that.
Okay. I would disagree with that, but for instance, there's supposed to be an annual report to the city council. I find no record of that. That is a requirement of the contract, that the foundation shall give an annual report to the city council of the expenditures, the revenues and expenditures of the program. Again, that wasn't in my public information request. I can only assume that that was not done.
I think I have to speak up. I am deeply concerned about this ordinance. I am not happy with the outcome. I know that when this was first put into play, it was with the best intentions. There's no doubt in my mind. But the more that I hear about this, I think we need to step back as council people and think and really think this over, because we're here for the taxpayers. The taxpayers, my people from my district are the ones that put me here. And I do not want my integrity or for them to think that I'm not being transparent with their tax money. That is my responsibility as a councilwoman. So I don't know how you feel about that, Barbara, guys. I mean, I think we need to really do away with this.
Councilwoman Carrasco, for instance, I've had many people call me, and I found out this was true with one of my own bills. I mean, one of the provisions is an opt-out provision that says, you know, this is voluntary, which I take a little bit of disagreement with enrolling everyone in a program that they haven't been asked to be enrolled in, and then make them jump through hoops to get out. And when I say jump through hoops, I mean jump through hoops because I have documentation where I signed up last year to opt out of the program, and 2 months later, it's on my bill.
Can I see that
Yes,
copy,
ma'am.
please?
And I've had many other people tell me that they've actually opted out numerous times. And so they're getting frustrated that they never really get out. In fact, I have a document, I'll get it here at the end.
You want to be refunded your $2?
Actually, I'd like the city to be refunded for the money that they've sent.
I've had
It's
people
not about the
approach me
$2.
about to-
The dollar.
The dollar,
They want the dollar back.
yes. They want to have that
But
option.
it's not even the dollar. It's the
a-
principle
it's a-
that you tell me I can opt out, and then you keep re-enrolling me. I have the
Jason,
record.
we would like to see those,
Yeah.
because we've made every effort. If it's somebody wanted to opt out, we've allowed them to opt out. If they don't, if they choose not to pay the dollar, they aren't billed the dollar.
But that's incorrect, because I have proof.
I'm telling you that's correct.
Okay, then someone needs to explain on the spreadsheet provided in my public information request how this program started at 29,000 people. People have been, it got down to 15,000 people in the program December of 2012, and then in 1 month it jumps 10,000 people to 25,268. Did 10,000 people opt in over Christmas?
I don't know, I'd have to take a look at
The
this.
lady at when I went to get a copy of this bill, said, it's my understanding that we have had glitches in the system. And I said, well, how interesting that the glitches always opt everyone in and not opt everyone out.
Jason, the time.
On an agenda item, do we have a time limit?
No, but I just, per Mr.
Well,
Long's
yeah.
request.
I would like to
You-
listen,
you-
I would like to see the
You can
proof.
discuss it as long as you wish, but he is a speaker. Yeah, so
I just wanted to give him the opportunity to give me that copy if it's there.
Yes, I do have it. And I would also note that the city ordinance, if we actually go by those anymore, does not implement a time limit on the speaker. It says a reasonable time.
Jason, we'd love to see any claims that
Oh,
we
there
did
is.
not refund the dollars in a timely manner.
Okay? There it is.
Thank you, sir.
So, on top of all of this, in the course of looking into all of this, let me end with this concern. Mrs. Hemphill, in 2008, July 2008, gave a $50,000 check at a city council meeting, I understand, to the Odessa Parks Foundation, a year after this program was implemented. Now, this check was presented by a third party, and they were told that they would get to work on a structure of some kind at Hemp Hill Central Park, I believe is the name of it. And they're very upset because it's almost 5 years later and nothing has been done yet. These are the kind of things that people look and say, what's going on with the money? We can't take care of a $50,000 donation and get somebody something for their donation when they request, I'd like to improve this park in this way. It takes us 5 years to get to that. So I have to question, how interested are we in, beautifying the parks and getting buy-in from people who are willing to donate and to get into this and know that their money's going to be taken care of and spent appropriately. So I go back to, if the foundation wants to exist, and it's been, the foundation was incorporated in 1996, I would ask, how much private money did this foundation raise until it got funded by the city of Odessa? Again, it's a laudable goal, but it seems that a lot of these private nonprofit foundations crop up so that they can be funded by the city and the taxpayer. That's the concern. So with that, if you have any other questions, I'd be glad to answer them. I've been through a lot of paperwork in the last few weeks, and I can only say the more I looked into it, the more concerned I've got, and the more questions I have, and I'm even more concerned after tonight because now it doesn't seem like definitive statements in documents actually mean that much. That bothers me the most, and I think it bothers a lot of taxpayers who are spending a lot of money each and every year to fund government in this town. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, Jason. Mr. Hovind?
Adjustment, please. Javier Hovind, 3006 Byron, Odessa, Texas. Real quick perspective on the items that Larry Long, the city attorney, has been answering, and I respect Larry for his work within the legal department. When I was here at within the city council, many of the people here, including Larry, city manager, several were here within the departments and when they were assistants. Now they lead those departments. The master parks plan, which Larry is reciting, was very controversial at that time. Spent $75,000 creating this master plan. The committee, which is now Foundation Incorporated in 96, set out 10 priority lists. Their number 1 was the People's Priority List Survey, number 10. Number 1 for the committee, land acquisition. Why not? Taxpayer money. Let's go out and buy 50 acres. Let's grow the Parks Department, which I was adamantly opposed because we could not afford it. And not only couldn't afford it, we did not have the capability, the personnel, or even the water. Second of all, the priority list for the people, number 1, was to work with what you have. Don't grow it. Work with what we have. Work within your means. It was ignored then, being ignored now. Number 10, curiosity, item 10, land acquisition. So where were the people represented? I know this is a difficult job. I've sat there, and I appreciate everything you do. But the thing is that this is not a volunteer dollar donation program. You do not go and take a captured audience, which we don't have an option to go anywhere else, and if anybody knows that they live here, you cannot pump any type of well water into your home, regardless of what type of filtration system you use. So we have a captured audience. The council, and this is a new council other than Mr. Dean Combs, who was on that council, who knows the answer of why the 5 years were there. It's not about the $1 or $2, and no one needs to be patronized when they come before the council. It is basically what we're saying is more than that. It's transparency and accountability. And that is what we all go for. Each and every one of you at one point made a decision to run, whether you were asked or told. And what you said is you took an oath to defend the Constitution, to represent those that cannot be in those rooms or the Finance Committee or within the committee. The foundation was a committee. They were committed to enhance and improve the park system that was inherited and taken over from the county.
Mr. Hovind, your time is up.
Let me finish with this. This ordinance expired, whether on purpose or by ignorance. It expired, and so did the contract. I disagree with the definition that Long had presented, and no one on the council answered the question. Do you understand and do you agree with the interpretation and the opinion by the legal department, as put forth by Mr. Long, as the language that was instituted by the contract, that these monies were to survive, that these monies, not refunded or expended, would extend in perpetuity, well, let me say, I can't even say that word. Basically, it extends the contract and has no end to it for the reason is it's an endowment, it's never going to be spent. I understand it simply as this. The ordinance expired, a 5-year sunset clause was put. By ignorance or by intent or non-intent, by direct or indirect action, the council that gave genesis to this ordinance allowed it to expire. The council, the majority of that council, extended the May elections to December. They were here in July 1 of 2012, and yet they never brought it up, never said a thing. How did they not know? I made it an issue. I made it an issue ever since I moved back. I've made it an issue when I dealt with the committee
Mr. Holman,
then,
could you please wrap it up?
and I dealt with the committee when it became a foundation. Good work, but it's about accountability and transparency about the money. It is 1.2 million. Thank you.
If you say there's no transparency in this,
I'm asking if there is transparency. I didn't say that. I didn't say that there wasn't. I'm asking, is there transparency?
why do you ask the question?
What, did I ask the question?
Yes.
Okay, I'm asking the question is, well, then tell me this. The committee or the foundation both placed there by the council in the ordinance, and council negotiated the contract. You were there. You put in the stipulation that the foundation.
We're talking about the transparency.
And that's what I'm trying to get to.
Today,
And that's what I'm trying to get to. This is directly related to the transparency. You asked the foundation for an annual report of expenditures and money received, line item, and it wasn't done. So where's the transparency, sir?
The audit report, as part of an audit, the auditors sit there and they look, they read the forming documents of the organization, the mission of the organization, and part of the audit process is to see where the money's spent in accordance with the mission of the organization.
The mission of the organization.
Of the mission
Not the contract, not the contract, or the ordinance, or the master partner,
They
but the mission.
also review contractual agreements that the organizations have
Okay.
with other agencies.
Nonprofit.
Just as part of an audit, contracts are reviewed, be it public or private.
But they're dealing with other organizations, nonprofit, public, private.
Either or those. But what I'm saying is
Nonprofit or private or public?
that in order to issue an unqualified opinion, which
Okay.
the Parks Foundation received, it says that they review the mission of that organization in relation to the way those funds were spent.
Okay.
Had there been exceptions to that, then it's quite possible that the foundation would not have received an unqualified opinion.
Okay. How long have you, Mr. Combs, you're on the Finance Committee, correct?
Yes,
You've been on the Finance Committee
2, 3, 4 years.
4 years? Safe to say?
More or less. Mm-hmm.
Yes. You're an accountant,
Mm-hmm.
so you have seen this audit.
No, I have not seen the audit.
So you haven't seen an audit, but yet, and I know you're qualified, you're an accountant, sir. You've been on the Finance Committee, the Health Finance Committee. The committee that, the tail that wags the dog, so to speak, it's a phrase that I have coined when I was here. I was on the Finance Committee too myself, sir. You're speaking to me and quantifying an audit about this foundation in rebuttal to transparency question that I made, but yet you have not seen it. You have not seen the audit, but it exists. You spoke about it. Can you make it available to us for public view so we too can be able to quantify the
It's my
findings?
understanding that those are with the city secretary.
They are?
It's my understanding, yes.
Do you know this for a fact?
That's what I've been told.
Well, by whom, sir? But can you tell us who's the one that directed that they are within the city secretary's office? And are they available for review?
I believe you may already have them in your request for information.
I'm sorry, sir, no, they're not. There are many items missing. 670 pages, and half of them are duplicates.
I'd be happy to look at it, but I think you got the audits.
Well, sir, I know what I have. I don't have the thing because I actually went through the pages. So, I'm speaking to something I know, and I'm not trying to sound patronizing, sir.
Sure, I understand.
Mhm.
If we have the audits, you may have the audits.
Well-
If they were provided to us, they're public information, there's no reason you shouldn't have them.
Okay, then let me ask this question, sir, since the FOIA request was to any business pertaining to the foundation. And the foundation's expenditures and money, receivables that were pertaining to the utility dollar program. Why were they not included in the original FOIA?
We have to respond to your request for information based on what you've asked for. And we've done our best ability to answer your request.
So, Mr. Moore, are you saying that the audit that basically the city council has not seen, and the senior member of the finance committee has not seen, that he just now spoke to me about, and basically took time to educate me on this? Are you saying that under what we requested, this is an audit about the foundation according to the utility dollar program? How was it not covered under the FOIA when we specifically requested emails? Anything related to the foundation, sir?
Mr. Hogan, if you've asked for the audits, we will get you the audits.
Okay,
Okay?
that's all I'm simply asking.
There is nothing to hide in this program.
I've never made an
The program has
accusation
done
of
many
anyone.
fine things for
Mhm.
this community.
And I'm not, and one thing is that I'm not being disagreeable.
That have been provided by a dollar donation, voluntarily given. We have a disagreement on whether if you like the opt-in or the opt-out.
Mhm.
Okay, the council at the time made the choice, it was an opt-out. Okay?
Yeah.
Staff has made every effort when a citizen of Odessa has come in and said, we would like to opt out. We have written off thousands of dollars from those that didn't pay, but
415.
did not know how to do it. So we've not billed them for that. Every new customer coming into the city is given a choice. It's not an it's
Since when was that
since its begin.
Since the beginning, you had.
Absolutely. So, again, there is nothing to hide, okay? Absolutely nothing to hide. The organization has put out annual reports to the community. All I can say.
Has that been for the last 5 years,
Mr.
sir?
Logan, is that we will give you whatever you ask for if we have it and if we can produce it.
You said that the report to the public has been distributed for the,
I said it has been given out to the public.
okay, given out.
Okay, you're taking.
You're talking about the
saying-
report? You're talking about the report?
Yeah.
And what's within the report? What's inside the report? I'm asking a question because I'm trying to get educated here because I have not seen
The
the.
reports about their activities, sir.
Okay, so it's basically what's written in the contract, the ordinance, of what the foundation is supposed to be doing, line item expenditures and money receivables.
No, sir, it was a report on their activities for that year.
Okay.
It was
Activity
action-
of projects,
It was action by that foundation to inform the public as to what they were doing.
of projects that they engaged in, that they gave money to?
Absolutely, sir.
Okay.
What their activities.
Can you point me to anywhere in the contract or the ordinance where the foundation is required by contract or ordinance to perform that duty as far as sending out that little mailer out that everybody receives? I'm not even in the program and I still receive it.
You're not, I'm sorry?
I'm not in the program anymore, but I still receive the little flyer where there says nothing about their activities other than the promotion of the program. There's nowhere in the contract or the ordinance where it pertains that they have to do this. But it does say in the contract, the ordinance, that they do have to provide a line item financial report, annual, about their expenditures and money received from the dollar program. Am I mistaken? I must be. Council, thank you very much.
Thank you. Line item 7, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
For discussion?
Any discussion?
I do not think that this is a good move. I just want to make it clear that I do not want to be a part of this.
What's your hesitancy?
Is there any way we
There's
can
just-
talk?
Shoot.
There's just,
Can we talk before the council?
Did you fill out a requester card, ma'am?
I didn't know that there was one. I wasn't offered one. I would like to talk before the council. 5 minutes. Yes.
Yeah, come on.
3 minutes. 3 minutes.
You have 3 minutes to speak, ma'am, if you state your full name and your address.
Tracy Waters, P.O. Box 7943, Odessa, Texas. And I've been through to the city. When I finally discovered that this was being charged, it was on my bill. My concern is that it is on the bill. Doesn't say you can opt out, you can have a option to enter the program if you want to. A lot of people, hard-working people, they have to go to work. They do not look at their bill. They say, they think that what you put on the bill is what they have to pay. They are honest people. This is a dishonest procedure. You put it on the bill as though if we were part of your bill. And a lot of people don't read it. A lot of people who are working, they're just paying their bills. A lot of people are illiterate. A lot of people are not able to read because they're Spanish or Japanese or French or Vietnamese or whatever language. They cannot read these. And they think that that's your bill. Well, you got to pay it. And I think it's dishonest the way you put it. And you need to take it off and not put it on there. How come we're having to fund somebody? I mean, why are we funding these people? $6 million. It's not $1 million. It's $6 million. If you put $100,000 for each person that has to do every month, it's $1,000, $100,000 a month, because that's how many people are in Odessa buying water. And then you multiply that by 12 times 6. That's $6 million plus that these people have gone without our approval. This is taxation without representation. And it's unconscionable the way y'all did it. Remove it. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a motion? Do we have a second?
I would like to discuss this, guys.
Yeah, you just have to, then we discuss. We have a motion, second. Do we have any discussion?
Please. I just, you know, this will, and the more that I looked into it, the more that I felt that this is not good representation in our part. I think that this needs to be killed, and if something needs to be, I mean, to me, it's non-existent anymore. There was a sunset provision put in there for this reason, for us to revise this, for us to look into it. We need to have a conscience of what we're doing and how we're letting our taxpayers see us up here. They're the reason why we're here and we're representing them. Were you going to say something, Reverend?
No, I was just saying that we need to look at it as far as going back, and if there needs to be some improvement done, we're going to make those improvements. And I know the citizens are concerned about what has been happening and what has happened. So give us an opportunity to look at it, and based on that, we can, if it's broke, it needs fixing. If it's not broke, don't fix it. But it's broke, so we need to fix it.
Any more discussion?
Councils.
So your solution is just to do a whole program?
Why not?
Do you have any?
I mean, if you don't want people asking.
I think we need to do it.
She's doing great things. Yeah, I'm sorry, Barbara, let me finish my thought. The Parks Foundation has done incredible things, and they've continued to do it in our community. And that's not the issue. The issue at hand is that whenever you get taxpayers' money and you put it in a nonprofit, it is the taxpayers, they have the authority, they have the reason to come and question us. What are you doing with the money that's coming in and coming out? it's their right to know. And that's all I'm saying, is if the taxpayers if you want to be taking this money, we're going to have to let them know what's going on. And if you don't want anybody asking you questions, then let go. And if they want to donate, then let them donate. But it's going to come out of them. That's just the way that I'm thinking. That's the way I feel about that.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I tend to agree with the Reverend that we need to sit down. I think we really need to look at the program. I think it's an absolutely excellent program, but perhaps we need to make some changes. And this is an opportunity to do it. This council was not the council that set it in place. We definitely need parks for our children. I don't have a lot of money to go out and build a park, but I can give a little bit, $1 a month, and it can add up and we can have parks. I have a park in my area that hadn't had any improvements since, oh gosh, when was it built? A long time ago. Do you remember when it was built?
Early 50s.
Maybe in the, what, 50s?
Early 50s. Early 1950s.
And it had the original playground equipment. So we were able to use some of that money and improve it. And we've enriched the lives of the children in that area.
Then
They
we
could
should
not
give them-
afford to
so
go
we should
to
give,
the parks.
then the taxpayers should have the option that if they do want to donate, great, give them that option.
Well, we
That's all
probably
I'm
need to
saying.
advertise the program more. And I remember when it first came out, I received a letter telling me about it.
It needs to be clarified.
Mr. Patton, would you speak to the issue of, I believe, the advertising that was done on behalf of the Parks Foundation and the response that was received? I believe in there it said that people could opt out of the program.
At the onset of the program and the development, the foundation surveyed other cities to find out the opt-in, opt-out option. The results of the opt-in option from Abilene were $5,000 to $12,000 a year, and when a $100,000 piece of playground equipment for a large park, it would take many, many, many years, if ever, to develop that. So when we went forward with that, they looked at the first area of publication or media that we would do a brochure went to every utility customer on the onset before the program ever started, explain the program, explain the opt-in, opt-out option. We had newspaper coverage at that time also, and that was at the early part of 2007.
But there has been public relations efforts since that time, correct?
We paid CBA media